Hello, good morning students. We have discussed several topics of Unit 1 and we have discussed the software development life cycle and life cycle models. Software development models. What are the benefit of all the life cycle models? We have already discussed, but one major point of discussion is that when we are developing a particular software, which life cycle model will be best suitable? How to identify that? In order to identify which life cycle model is very well implemented, we have to know the uses of different life cycle models, benefits of different life cycle models, and how they are going to satisfy the software. And we have to also compare between different life cycle models so that which one is best suited we can identify. Got it? Without comparison, we cannot decide for which type of system requirements which model can be applicable. Before coming to the point, we should know that we have published several videos regarding our topics. And as per my knowledge, many of the students have not subscribed the channel and also not reading the topics given in the PDFs and not watching the YouTube videos. So please kindly watch all the videos sequentially so that you can understand the points very well. If you leave any of the video, then the points discussed in a systematic manner, you will leave. You cannot understand it. So please go through all the YouTube videos, subscribe the channel and click on the notification button so that it will be helpful for you to know which video is posted recently and you have to go through it. Please. Okay? Thank you. So in our point of discussion, we'll compare between different life cycle models so that will provide us the benefit in choosing a proper method for a proper set of requirements. When we have discussed about classical waterfall model, it is just the concept of all other models. If you want to know about somebody, some prior knowledge is required. As in order to read intermediate course, either +2 science, arts or commerce or diploma or degree or whatever may be, we should have a prior knowledge in our brain that from standard 1 to standard 10, we have covered different courses. If we have not read standard 1 to 10, we cannot decide in intermediate which way we will choose. Either we'll go for a general course, or we'll go for a professional course, or we'll go for a technical course, whichever. As the concept we are using, similarly, we can think about if the knowledge regarding the importance of life cycle models, uses of life cycle models, application of its concepts, application of its technologies understood to us, then we can rightly choose a life cycle model at a particular place. And we can also understand all other life cycle models accordingly. So to make the concept clear, to understand other life cycle models, we have to read about classical waterfall model. Classical waterfall model, which is not exactly used for the actual software development purpose. It is not suitable for practically developing a project. It is not suitable for error correcting. It is not suitable for your feedbacking facilities. If any of the error occurred at a bad stage, we cannot go back, correct it, and go to the forward stages like that. The classical waterfall model contains a sequential nature of data flow. The sequential nature may not be always beneficial. It may be slow in nature. It should follow sequential procedures so that if a particular process does not require sequential activities and requires cycles of activities, then we cannot use it. Got it? Still, we have to read about classical waterfall model because the knowledge of which will give knowledge about all other life cycle models too. Got it? And the life cycle model, classical waterfall model specifically, is implemented for documentation purposes. To document the product operations, the requirement formulations, the applications of different technologies is performed using the concept of classical waterfall model. As we have already discussed, documentation is not present means we cannot make an effective plan and use an effective plan for a specific action or problem solution. So the documentation is highly important, and the documentation is going to give you benefit in understanding the requirements, solving the requirements very well, using the proper solutions for formulating the requirements into right solutions in a quicker and effective manner. Got it? So this is the importance of classical waterfall model while use it. In comparison to classical waterfall model, the problems of it is rectified in the next successive model, that is your iterative waterfall model. The problems, those we have found out in classical waterfall model, is removed by another waterfall model, that is iterative waterfall model. It has given several feedback paths. Feedback paths means what? If in a particular stage we are and we have found that there is some difficulty in that stage, because of which problem the difficulty arised, we can find out that. And we can also rectify the problem by going back to the respective stage in which the error has been occurred. Got it? We can reach in a sequential manner to a particular stage, same as classical waterfall model. And we can also go back to the previous stages wherever we have found mistakes or defects. The use of feedback path gives this benefit. You have already seen these diagrams in which the flow lines going back from maintenance to integration, maintenance to coding, maintenance to designing, maintenance to requirement analysis and specification are called as the feedback paths. And these feedback paths will give you the means of going back and solving the defects at the previous stages. We'll find the phase containment of the errors, go back to the phase, correct the errors, and move forward again in a procedural manner. In this way, several cycles of activities also can be performed. As in the classical waterfall model, we can go forward. Similarly, in iterative also we can go forward. As in classical waterfall model, we cannot go back and rectify the errors. It has given many difficulties. And these difficulties are being solved in the iterative waterfall model because of this backtracking flow lines. Got it? The backtracking provides many benefits. And one more problem, that is classical waterfall model cannot be used in practical projects. It is not useful for actual problem solving, only it solves the documentation needs. But in iterative waterfall model, it can be used for practical projects. Actual product development can be done using it. but it can be applied for well understood features only to avail. Similar products previously developed or similar concepts previously used, then using that only we can develop a new system for a set of requirements to be solved for a particular customer. So if the features, if the requirements, if the customer's problems are not understood priorly to the developer, they cannot use the iterative waterfall model there. Got it? And when your requirement of solving a smaller project comes, then you can very well implement there the iterative waterfall model. In iterative waterfall model, small projects can be easily, quickly developed because it has the concepts easily described and well-known points can be identified inside it, and the concept behind the system can be priorly developed by an experienced developer. Using those concepts, we can easily handle well-known systems to develop and smaller projects to handle using the iterative waterfall model. If the concepts, features, requirements are not known to the developer, then there the iterative waterfall model cannot be used. Got it? So how it can be solved? There is another point. If the concept is unknown, if a particular system is not developed priorly by any of the developers, then how can it be developed? So to solve this problem, we can go for some other life cycle model, that is your prototype model. Prototype model solves the problems of previous life cycle models like your waterfall models, in which the new concepts, new features, smaller risks can be easily handled. If a particular product has a totally new concept not priorly developed, none of the experienced persons regarding that particular system are available, still the prototype can help to create a raw prototype and develop it as a dummy system, use it as an use it in the implementation purpose, and find out the difficulties, rectify the difficulties, and ask the customer whether he is satisfied with the system, then go back to the systems. And in this way, you can easily solve the new concept to be developed. Projects with new concepts and risks can be handled. Unknown threats also can be solved. If unknown threats are there, then those are have the meaning that the similar concept is not being developed by anybody. So that type of concepts can be formulated here using the prototype. A raw prototype or the toy model of the system can helpful for converting the new concepts into a system, and we can develop it. And it is also helpful for developing the user interface part of a software. When a particular software is developed, it has a user interface part which helps to communicate with the user, to accept the inputs and show the outputs to the user. It also contains a framework in which the informations those are performed internally can be shown on a interactive page, and that user interface part can be easily developed using this concept. The user interface part is moreover new to new systems, and those new concepts can be developed easily through the prototypes. Got it? And for solving any interactive type of softwares also, the prototype model is beneficial, where your information processing contains list least risk to handle, very few risks are available, then those type of systems can be well developed using the prototype. Got it? But projects with larger concepts cannot be handled here because the larger concepts may contain many risks. The larger projects may contain many unknown facts, and all those cannot be formulated in a single prototype as a whole. So in order to solve larger concepts and develop a larger system, we have to take help of some other life cycle model, that is your evolutionary model. We have already discussed regarding the benefits of evolutionary model. In evolutionary model, we are solving the larger concepts to be formulated and larger problems, how it can be solved. The larger problems will be decomposed into smaller modules, and each and every smaller module will be further divided into more submodules, and those can be incrementally developed. Each and every submodule will be developed incrementally in the form of versions, and those versions will be verified by the customer as and when prepared, so that the customer's requirements, more desires can be easily collected, and using that feedback, the next successive version of the module can be well implemented for reaching at a correct, accurate, exact system for solving the needs. We have already discussed about evolutionary. This is the diagram of evolutionary, how the phases are being executed. We have already discussed about this. The requirements are collected. A core module is prepared because that is the main module of the system. Next parts of the system will be at the outer part of the core module, and the core module will help all other successive versions to work effectively. Whether a module works very well or not, we can easily identify through the customer's feedback while we are using it. And the rest of the parts of the modules are gradually, incrementally, successively developed and added into it. Got it? And the maintenance part, at last, as all the life cycle models is benefited, that provides you the future scopes to be provided. When your prototype model comes, in prototype models, we have already seen this diagram prior. The requirements are collected, a quick design is prepared, we are building a prototype, then we are asking for customers' feedback, whether the customer is highly satisfied with the system, then we are refining the requirements according to the customer dissatisfaction and rebuild the prototype by preparing a quick design again. Here several cycles of activities are being processed, and the cycles of activities will help the customer's real needs to be identified. And after identifying all the real needs, the next customer acceptance is reached. After gaining the customer acceptance, the further development process will start. And when the next process of development starts, it uses a iterative development strategy in which your next set of activities like your designing, coding, testing and maintenance will be consecutively executed. Got it? When your problems are being unsatisfied, you can here get a great satisfaction by customer reviews. So when your iterative waterfall model have many benefits like your systematic development of the activities and feedback collection and going back to the previous stages to rebuild the activities again, that concept is being very helpful here. In the iterative development part of the system, the rest development activity performed in case of prototype models. And the problem behind prototype model to solve larger risks, it cannot solve larger risks that can be solved using the evolutionary. Got it? And in case of evolutionary, you can feel that the execution is performed in the form of incremental basis and successive versions of the systems are being developed. And when your particular version is being used by the customer, the next increment can be easily and effectively prepared. But in case of the customers does not require incremental type of systems, then how the larger systems can be developed? There is another question. So if a system is larger and the customer is not requiring incremental versions, it requires a whole system all at a once, then how this can be solved? There is also solution. We can use the concept of spiral model, in which your larger systems with similar object-oriented features of evolutionary nature can be solved by spiral model. And when the system is larger, riskier, complex, and also technical challenging concepts are available, then also the spiral model can be easily implemented there. A product with any type of difficulties can be solved using the spiral model. And your spiral model uses the concept of all other life cycle models inside it, so that any benefit of any model is present, that benefit can be used in the spiral model. Got it? As it inherits the other life cycle models, it can use the waterfall model, in which the procedural benefits are being taken. Where the concurrent executions are required, the waterfall model will be benefited. Where the larger problem developed using decomposing the whole system into small parts comes, then evolutionary can be benefited. When there is unknown facts are there and unknown facts to be converted into a known fact, then the prototype can be used. So the past benefits are collected and being used inside the spiral model in order to prepare effective softwares. Because of this concept, the spiral model is also referred as a meta model. Model of all other models is the spiral model. So it is called as a meta model. Got it? Although it is a complex and expensive model, as we have discussed already at the time of discussing spiral model, it has many advantages. If there are many advantages, requires cost also we can use for our purposes. Because for a particular software development, how much efforts required, how much money required, how much time required, we must have to pay. Otherwise, we cannot develop an effective software. So, because of these benefits, we can use a little expense more to develop a system for our need. Got it? It can also, it is more popular and mandatory to be used for several projects, because several projects contains larger risk as their concept. And if larger risks are there, we have to use the concept of complex system handling technology or riskier project handling techniques or risk-driven systems to be prepared. Got it? Because of that, the spiral model is very much beneficial. As we have already seen this diagram, the prototype model is used at the second quadrant of the spiral model, in which many unknown facts are converted into prototypes and developed separately. And those prototypes can be according to the real problems of the risk those are to be solved. After preparing the prototype, the development strategies can be used, the engineering activities can be performed, and that will help you to convert the prototype into the real system. In the third quadrant, the engineering techniques used will convert the prototype into the real system, and next we can use it for solving the next iterations or next spirals to be performed. Got it? Now, all the life cycle models we have discussed, software development life cycle also we have discussed, how the software engineering going to be benefited to the software developers we have already discussed in this unit 1. So now it is your time to solve the queries. You should have to answer these questions in your notebook. What is software engineering? Importance of studying software engineering. If we'll read about software engineering, then there should be some benefit. Without it, we'll not use it, we'll not read it, we'll not waste our time. So for what for we'll read software engineering? That is a major question. To find the answer and write. Discuss about software engineering as a science or an art. What do you feel? Whether software engineering to be worked as a science, it is helping for the development. So it is science. It develops new concepts to develop. It gives effect to a new concept into an automated system. Whether it is a science or as an art, it works so that it uses prior concepts, prior knowledge, history of software developments inside it to be helpful for developing products. Find the answer and write. Got it? The SDLC phases already we have discussed. SDLC phase you have to describe here. What do you mean by SDLC? Then its activities. Then next is your importance of life cycle models. What is life cycle model? What are its importance? Why will you use it? What is its requirements in the software development phase? You have to answer this. Then next your importance of classical waterfall model for because of what purpose will use it. Then what is the importance of classical waterfall model? Then what is the importance of your iterative waterfall model? All these you have to show using the diagrams. Then what is a prototype model? Describe using a neat diagram. Or you can say, for developing the user interface part of a particular system, which model is highly beneficial? Describe about that. For developing an iterative and new concept to be formulated into a system, which model is benefited? To solve an interactive system to be developed and satisfy the customers fully, which model is beneficial? Then all these answers are there with a prototype model. Prototype model with the diagram you have to explain. Then which life cycle model helps to develop very large products with incremental nature? Discuss about that, and you can think about this answer as your evolutionary model, because larger products in incremental versions are developed using that. Next question is here. Discuss about a model which is able to handle risky and complex systems. To solve the risk and complexities inside a system, which model is beneficial? The answer is there with you, and that is the spiral model. Answer that. Got it? These are all about your important questions. You write all these question answers in your notebooks. Got it? And this is all about your unit 1. We'll discuss about unit 2 in the rest of our classes. Okay? Thank you.